Let me ask you this. Watching all these giant explosions and what you see happening there, what do you think it looks like on the ground?
Oh, my gosh. You know, those walls, those outer shell walls, and they are absolutely enormous. That stuff is thick, and they are designed, and I've actually I worked at a plant, Turkey Point Nuclear in Florida, where they actually had to cut a hole in it to bring the reactor out with a giant crane, and you can see how thick that wall is. It's designed to be hit with an airplane.
747.
Yeah, and now I don't know if Japan's is that way. I would assume so, especially being coastal like that. Actually, just a few weeks before I was there, North Korea had lobbed a missile over Japan, and it splashed off the coast. And within minutes, the Japanese carrier was out there immediately, and it was visible from the shore. But let's see, what was I going to say?
What other intel can you give us about the Fukushima plant?
Well, it's huge. I do know that a lot of the people who need to be there can't be there. And one of my friends I'm conversing with over the internet, he's actually in Yokohama. He's an engineer there. I worked with him, and he can't even get on site because all of the railroads are down. They're all just shut down. The infrastructure is messed up. He can obviously get online. He's in Yokohama. He can't get into the office. And at this point,
there's a massive earthquake still ongoing, aftershocks, 9.1. Right. A lot of the rail lines down. And how many people are in Tokyo? 9 million?
Oh, I was in Tokyo. I don't remember that statistic.
In fact, you guys found the statistics. It's over 500 above ground tests that have gone on. But let's pull up the population of Tokyo. Can you imagine if even a fraction of them try to flee south, as is now being reported by AP and others? Can you imagine what that is going to look like with the infrastructure already in shambles? Right. I can imagine Chicago trying to do such a thing and having difficulty here in the States. And that country is so tightly compacted. The roads are not as wide as ours. You know, the cars are smaller. I know that Japan, under treaty, is not allowed to have nuclear weaponry, and it would surprise me. And as I talked to their engineers, and in fact, my escort there, he actually had met the Queen of England, so he was a pretty important person. And, in talking to him, they were so proud of these plants, and I thought, this is amazing that you would put... So there's 6 units out there. They're actually building 2 more currently. And, they don't see an end to this. It's almost like since they're restricted from making weaponry, they're kind of showing off with their, nuclear capabilities. I just wouldn't build... Obviously, they shouldn't be doing this. One reactor after another is like just a chain reaction domino effect blowing up. My point about those walls being so thick, if those bricks are being blown everywhere like that, like what we saw in that video... I mean, I can just imagine the damage that's doing to everything all around there. I mean, think about it shooting thousands of feet in the air in a matter of seconds. The explosive power was incredible. Of course it was going to expose the containment core, which they now admit has happened at 2, perhaps at 4. We have the numbers to give people an idea. There are 37+ million people in Tokyo Metro, 8.5 in the city limits. Can you imagine if even 10% of 37 million try to get out of the city, and reportedly it is just bedlam?
Yeah. Oh, it'll be wild. In fact, I haven't talked to my engineer friend in 2 days. He hasn't responded, so I think he might actually be on the move. I know a lot of different airlines are refusing to fly into Tokyo right now. There's another interesting thing. I know that the Japanese people are very tightly knit, very brave. I had a great time being out there. They took me out to dinner every night, lots of drinks, had a good time. The culture is just really cool. I had an awesome time, and I stayed up in that northeastern area, and the people were so good, and everybody's got their own home garden. They're just very independent-style people. Don't own weapons. They can't, Actually, I bought a 450-year-old spear I brought home from there, authentic. That was pretty cool. But the Japanese military, now they all have it ingrained in their minds that their life ends at 24. They are ready to die for their country, and at any cost. And I just think that is somewhat permeated into the culture. There could be a brevity, a braveness in the people to want to get in there and do their work at the Fukushima plant and get this under control. I know that the plant is
But how do you do that when there's giant explosions going off everywhere?
Well, yeah, I mean, you know what? I put myself in that position, and I think about America, and if I was working at the plant, it was like, look, this thing could blow and we could lose, the whole
half the continent, I would put on that suit and go in there and do what I could do, and knowing that I would die.
Why do you think the Prime Minister is trying to, quote, order them back in?
Well, I guess I don't know about that. Maybe they don't want to.
From what we get, and no one denies the Japanese are extremely brave folks. That's part of the culture.
Yeah.
They've sent awards to the Alamo. There's a big Japanese award out at the Alamo for them standing and dying. They love that stuff. Very romantic. But the point is that from what I get is it's the Tokyo Power and Electric isn't coordinating things, is what the Prime Minister says, and so things are just exploding. I mean, that explosion of Reactor 3 yesterday, the whole facility had stuff flying all over it.
Yeah, it was felt 25 miles away on the ground.
Yeah, so what do you expect? It sounds like there's really nothing they even can do. That's why they're trying to use helicopters to go in over it right now. Well, sir, really informative phone call. Anything else you can add for us, Salem?
No, we just do need to pray. We can see that human systems fail. All human systems fail. I do believe, God is sovereign. He's in control, and we just pray that all these people's lives individually get touched, and they can, connect to the true meaning of life through it all, and not be so dependent. No matter, Japan, one of the most complex countries in the world, we can see it just failing. So we can't put our faith in man's systems, and I think it's absolutely foolish to build plants of this many units. And I hope this kind of thing doesn't go on. Maybe they should start shutting down many of these multiple reactor units. But hey, Alex, I know you're an artist. I'm actually a professional sculptor full time, and I know you do oil paintings. So you've got any sculptural ideas I could kind of incorporate?
I never really have time to paint. I paint with my kids all the time. Just little things, but. I don't know, man. I'm sure you're a great artist. You've got your own ideas, but I appreciate your call, Salem. Very interesting. A lady called in who sounded very earnest, very focused, very informed. We confirmed it is the phone number for the Montgomery, Alabama federal sub-agency that tests the air for and water for radiation. We're going to call them live on air right now because she said that they told her that, yes, they are deploying emergency nuclear fallout personnel to the West Coast right now as a precaution. That's important news because you're not seeing that in the media. The federal government's not even really debating it or discussing it. Is it a problem? Guys, can we go ahead and start dialing that number live on air right now, please? You can let them hear the dialing. It's fine. Here we go. We are calling them live on air. I may have gotten word. Sure.
You have reached the United States Environmental Protection Agency's National Air and Radiation Environmental Laboratory in Montgomery, Alabama. If you know the 4-digit extension of the person you are calling, you may dial it at any time. If you know the name of the person you are trying to reach, press 1 for dial by name. If you are calling concerning pollution or permitting within the state of Alabama, please call the Alabama Department of Environmental Management at 334...
Hit 0 for operator.
7700. If you require other information, press 2.
2.
If you are calling to report a radiation emergency, press 1. If you require assistance with an administrative issue such as procurement or personnel, press 2. If you are calling regarding the Radon Proficiency Program or need other radon information, press 3. For information pertaining to EPA publications or related topics, press 4. For further assistance, press 0.
Press 0, like I said. Thank you.
Please hold. Someone will be with you shortly.
All right, folks, we're going to see what happens here. You're listening to live continual coverage.
USCPA, how can I help you?
Hi, ma'am. My name is Alex Jones. I'm doing a syndicated radio broadcast, and I've had callers calling in telling me that they, one particular lady who called you just about an hour ago, your office.
Who is that?
It was one of my listeners, so we were just confirming what she said, that she had talked to some folks in your office specifically about response to any fallout coming from Japan on the West Coast, that you were one of the main offices that tests that. Can I be put in contact with the specific sub-office, the air and water radiation measurement office there?
Alex, you're a syndicated radio show?
Yes, ma'am.
What is your radio, what is it? What station is it?
It's all over the country. It's on stations like 590 here in Austin. The website's Infowars.com. And again, man, we're broadcasting live right now. We're getting scores of calls from people who've called different federal agencies, state agencies, that there is a response on the West Coast to measure and prepare for fallout. And I need to talk to somebody because ferreting through numbers, I'm told that this Montgomery, Alabama office has the sample sent to it for nationwide. Is that correct?
I do not have the answers for you because I am just a front desk person.
Well, can I talk to the? Can I talk to the press person, or can I talk to the laboratory that does the testing?
The press person, I will be glad to give you her name. It's I can't put you through to anybody, sir. You'll have to call her direct. She's in Washington. Her number is...
Hold on, ma'am. Don't give the number out. I'm going to put you on hold. Can we get that number from you, please?
Yes. I'm glad to give her number.
Okay, I'm told they already got that number. We have that number to D.C., and that's Andy Adora. We'll call her. Thank you for the help.
Yes, sir. Thank you for calling.
All right, thank you.
Yes,
let's go ahead and dial that next number. And I'll obviously do this once we go off air, too, and ferret this out, because this is important breaking news. And this is what the media should be doing. This is what ABC, CBS, NBC, all of them should be doing this. Citizens shouldn't have to be doing it. I should be doing it. The callers, you're blind to things. The callers point out this is something that should be done. So we're doing it now here live on air. So we'll when I'm on air 4.5 hours, I start babbling. Got to refocus here. We will call the D.C. number for Andy Adora, the press secretary individual for this outfit. But it sounds like the lady we talked to earlier was able to get around to some of the people actually working there with the samples that said, yes, they are moving to the West Coast to respond.
Hi, this is Adora Andy, Deputy Associate Administrator for EPA's Office of External Affairs and Environmental Education. Please leave a message now or email me at andy.adora@epa.gov. That's Andy, A-N-D-Y, Adora, @epa.gov. If you need immediate assistance, please hang up and dial 202-564.
Okay, are we blocking that number out, or am I going to leave a message? Yeah, I want to leave a message. I never heard it beep because the audio just cut out. Are we leaving a message now? It's okay to give these numbers out. These are public numbers. I know earlier I didn't want to give that particular number out because I hadn't called it yet, but this stuff's all on the web. What I know is that we cannot trust the U.S. government, the International Atomic Energy Agency of the UN, the Japanese government, the Chinese government, the Transylvanian government, the South African government, the Israeli government, the German government, the Canadian government, the Mexican government, the Chilean government, the Brazilian government, the Timbuktu government, the Egyptian government, to tell you the truth on anything. They are a pack of liars and bureaucracies. And we need to know if the government thinks it's a serious enough threat that they're moving emergency personnel to the East Coast, to the West Coast from the East. We've gotten caller after caller confirming they've got family who's in the military who has told them that they are preparing for disasters, they are preparing for radiation fallout on the West Coast. That is important information. We know this thing's been covered up from the start and only gets worse and worse by the minute. The things I was putting out in articles Saturday and being laughed at for and Friday is now confirmed. Now I'm telling you this could go from bad to worse. And the problem is, as I put out in that video last night that's on YouTube and InfoWars and Prison Planet, that we don't know the truth about what's happening in Japan. Now, more and more we're learning that our worst suspicions have come true. And if one or more of those reactors continue to ignite and continue to vent uranium, plutonium, strontium, cesium, radioactive iodine into the air, it is just totally devastating what's going to happen in Japan.